right, so this is part 3 in the Sibble's mini-series. Just a refresher of what happened last time. In part 2, Sibble and her companions discovered some clues as to the location of the Silver Veil, and using a odd, peculiar black stone in the shape of a droplet that she found hidden in with the books in the compendium. Using that stone, which was linked to the Belmont family, she was able to essentially be teleported along with her companions to supposedly where the Silver Veil was. Um, but what they didn't realize, and they were kind of confused about, was why they ended up on the outskirts of Morningdale. They later discovered that Cathorn, the farmer who gave the party the sword that Sibble now wields, and they found Cathorn killed by something unknown, and the house was tossed. Like somebody was looking for something. They also found that Mr. McClure, the one that the party put behind bars for fraud and extortion, had somehow broken out of prison and killed a few guards on his exit as well. The group then later spoke to Conlin, the butler of the estate that they were given after the arrest of Mr. McClure, and Conlin was a bit beside himself. Was very distraught and very anxious, but he was happy to see Sibble and the group. The group then made their way to the mysterious wall that is on the way down to the basement of the estate. And this wall, partway down the steps, there is this wall going down. Only to find that the door that Sibble has been looking for some time now, that the dragon says is linked to himself, to the Belmont family, and supposedly to Sibble's past. This door that she's been searching for at the bottom, or on this wall going down to the basement. And they found that the sword was the key for the door, but it seems that that is not the only thing needed to open the door, and it seems that the door also has a riddle that needs to be answered for the door to be opened. The riddle goes, "We come in all shapes and sizes, but no one will deny our status. We hurt and heal without moving, but not without substantial proving. We seek that which is never truly attained, because it is evil's bane." And that is where we pick up, is with Sibble trying to answer this riddle. So, Sibble,
oh yeah,
what ideas do you have for this riddle?
oh man, just about as many as I had before.
Okay.
I've got a couple ideas. I'm just gonna just shots in the dark. I think the vague concept, I don't know.
Okay.
All right, so got a couple ideas. So my first thoughts were like a cleric, because clerics can come in all shapes and sizes, and a cleric is clearly a cleric. You can't deny that, and they can hurt and heal without moving at all with the blessings and miracles, and
Okay.
they can prove it because they can do it. And they seek that which is never truly attained, which is like peace and or perfection in the world, which happens to be evil's bane.
Okay. You got some good ideas with
Yeah,
the thought process that you're thinking, but it's not quite
yeah,
the answer for the riddle.
that's kind of what I was thinking. So then I was thinking like Praxthus version of like, bless you, dog. It's just like snorting over here for some reason. All right. Yeah. Okay, I was thinking of like Praxthus version of like the Bible, maybe. Like I don't know what that is actually, but just the creator's texts. Because that would come in all different shapes and sizes, and it would, same thing basically, same reasoning almost.
Okay.
But then I started thinking more practically, like a shield,
Okay.
which would do similar things. It would, it's a status thing. You put your family emblem on a shield, that kind of thing. It can hurt people and heal them, not necessarily like heal them, but like protect them from harm. And it would prove that by going through a war or like a fire or something. And they're seeking the protection of something that is precious to them. And evil's bane would be like, it's stopping evil from hurting things. So in a roundabout way.
A shield can be good by those that do evil and good, though. So.
Right, but the evil in this case is the harm from another, which would technically be evil.
In
So
the shield
evil
sense,
intent.
yes.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
But for this riddle,
In a broad
I will
sense,
say
no,
no.
but in a narrower mindset. And then I started thinking, like, who would do those things, maybe? So I was like, a guardian, like a hero, maybe like a legendary figure. I don't know, because they would be that thing. Then I started, like, instead of narrowing down, I got really broad. I was like, just general perfection, or like light, or truth, or something like that. But that's kind of as far as I got.
Okay. You have some good ideas for this and for the different parts of it. I will say, Isaac looks to you as you're going through and thinking and mentioning these various different things, and asks you what the dragon said that the Belmonts were crafty and that they were philosophical.
Isn't that great?
And if someone was going to, like, I feel like they would leave clues or they would hint at it or something like that. They wouldn't just have, like, there has to be something connected with this and with the Belmont family. Like, I can't see this being something that's totally out in left field. So, what do we know about the Belmont family?
I don't know.
They were nobles.
They're nobles. They hunt people with the Brutum Morbus and the Vela Morbus.
Okay.
They have a dragon inside of their family sword.
What did was there anything in particular that you remember from the sword when you got it? Like, I remember we had to go out into the forest and whatnot.
We didn't actually have to do that. I was just being dramatic.
Okay.
If I'm being honest.
But what was
I just wanted to do it on top of the
rock. What
rock.
was the deal with the whole with the sword? Like, I remember there was because you found
there was
something
like
in the pommel.
Yeah.
And what do you remember anything about what that was, or
it was some kind of a poem that I don't actually know the words to, other than I'll be judged or something. That's all I know. That's the only words I remember out of it. So I can uncork it though. It's in there still, I think.
Okay. Well, why don't we take a look at that?
Sure.
But as you're unscrewing that, Isaac, or getting that little piece of parchment out, Isaac begins to ask you your what you remember of when you first met the dragon. Like, he said that you had to that he like asked you questions or something,
Yeah, he did.
and you had
He
like,
asked me a series of
did he
questions.
mention what the why he was at, like, why, what the purpose was for asking those questions?
I think it was like if you were worthy or not, so like wield him, like be his friend.
Okay, so you had to
Like if you
prove
had,
yourself, so to speak.
yeah.
Okay. What kind of questions did he ask you?
You know, I have no idea.
Yeah, because I didn't really go through that with you, just because.
I think I just made a morality check,
Yeah,
like three of them or
it
something.
was three morality checks. Essentially, the questions that he asked you, um, were basically those type of situations where, for most people, or for the average person, there would be two options. Say, like, okay, uh,
Is
there's a
it kind of
situ.
like the train situation? Like there's one person there and five over there. Which one do you pick?
It's kind of like that, where it's kind of like, okay, there's a situation. What do you do? Like, what's the best answer? Do I say, like, there's a building collapsing and there's two people inside and you only have time to save one? Do you save, like, the child, or you save the, it was situations like that where it was kind of like, is there a right answer? Is there a wrong answer?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was more of, it wasn't, for the average person, it would seem like an impossible situation. But
You just tell them both to jump.
but it was more of like, if you can imagine, like, answering questions kind of like what Solomon had to answer with, the two ladies that came up and said,
Oh, this is
"This
my
baby is
baby.
yeah, this is my baby," and he
Yeah,
has to figure out who's the actual mother.
actual mom.
Like, it's questions like that where there was like a little hint of what the actual answer would be, or what the correct answer would be, but you had to find what the most just answer would be, essentially, or
Okay.
what would be the most just way of handling a situation.
Okay.
um those were the three type of questions that you were asked, and each one became more difficult. um
Yeah.
It was basically a test of your sense of justice, in a way.
Okay. It was a justice test
Okay.
about how you handle right and wrong or difficult situations to
Okay.
do the best, I guess, in your given situation.
Okay. And then you said, okay, let's take a look at the paper that you had, or that you got from
Alright.
the sword. Um,
Yeah.
so you take a look at that, and the phrase that you see, is, "To become the dragon, I must be judged. I will be judged."
Yeah, I remember the judgy bit. Yeah.
And he kind of looks at that and he goes, okay. I mean, I don't really know much about what the Belmonts did, like,
I
besides
don't know.
monster hunting, but they were nobles,
Yeah.
so, um, do we have any idea of what they might have done, like, outside of monster hunting.
I don't know. Cathorn was really happy to be a farmer. I really don't know. There was another book that we have kind of about them, if I remember right, that we actually got in this house.
That there
That
was.
McClure had.
That there was.
I don't even remember if we ever read that thing.
Nope.
Oh wow! All right. Maybe we can all just sit in the dark and have a read out loud session. Like I'll read the storybook to you.
Essentially, this book
I can't
covers
believe we never read that.
covers various different, like, from the beginning of kind of like the middle of the life, so to speak, of Elfiel. And
What one was that? Number
the
3?
Bel
Number 2? Oh wait, he was number
Elfiel
1.
was number 1.
He was number
the
1.
He
Yeah.
was the first one that wielded the dragon, as well as the one that was big in the Great War and things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Had the 2 twin sons and
Yeah, Moon Elf number 1.
yeah.
All right.
Basically talks about them as a noble family. Were known to be they were asked for counsel on how to handle certain situations. So other nobles would reach out to them for assistance on answering some difficult questions or difficult situations of essentially what is the most just way to handle this. Like I said, situations kind of like what Solomon had to deal with, but they were very their advice was very much sought after from across the continent for answering difficult questions, and to make sure that the right decision was made, and not just the right decision can be based off of someone's bias, I guess you could say, or their side of things. So this is more of what is the true just answer for a situation. I'm trying to think of a specific word and I can't think of it for some reason.
Yeah, that's difficult to explain, but like doing the right thing despite the fact that it's the messier option.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think of a specific word that, like, when you're asked for your help, and I'm trying to think of what it is.
Like an advisor?
Yeah.
A counselor?
Yeah, a counsel. Their counsel was asked for a lot. That's the word I was looking for. Their counsel. They were asked for counsel for handling a lot of different situations, and it wasn't just regular noble families that are over, let's say, like a town or something like that. It would be people that were over entire cities the size of like King's Harbor, like dukes and things like that. It would even go up to kings sometimes. But they were very, very sought after, and their counsel was very sought after. They even, like, most of the time, for towns and villages and things like that, there's usually like a council that takes care of the justice system in that, whether it be a town council, a city council, whatever. Usually it's a group of individuals that usually decide or come up with a verdict for someone that has done some form of treachery. But the Belmonts did not have a council. They did not have multiple people. It was their family alone for the Silver Veil, and which was unheard of at the time. They were a lone judge, so to speak. The judge, or what's that saying? Judge,
Judge, jury, and
yeah, judge, jury, and executioner, so to speak.
yeah, there you
So,
go. Okay.
but that's basically what that book covers. Is just their counsel being sought after, and widely being sought after, and kind of their difference in running things and only having them as the judge, jury, and executioner, so to speak. So.
Okay. I want to like too obvious, but maybe like they're slightly egotistical, and the answer is themselves.
So you're just thinking Belmont?
Yeah, like Belmont. Like they are the answer.
Okay, well that's not it.
Okay. All right. Okay. I was like, maybe
But
they're
it
just
seems
incredibly prideful at this point.
it seems like for the sword and for what you had to do to even bond with it, and what
Yeah.
you had to go through with the dragon, and
Mm-hmm.
from this book,
Oh
it
no,
seems like
never mind.
there's a lot of references to judging, being judged, and having a sense of justice.
Mm-hmm.
So there seems to be a theme.
Maybe it's like, I don't know, like the law.
Okay. Not
Cause
quite.
yeah. Okay. All right. We're getting somewhere.
Not quite.
Um.
We come in all shapes and sizes, but no one will
Oh,
deny our
really?
status.
Mm-hmm.
We hurt and heal without moving, but not without substantial proving. We seek that which is never truly attained, because it is evil's bane. Isaac speaks up and
Yeah. Like,
says, well, I'll have him roll for this to see if he can make a
is it
connection.
just justice in general, or like?
Okay. He got a standard
I'll
success.
understand
With you saying that and justice and whatnot, and just the aspect of the dragon asking you different questions to see what your sense of justice is, he thinks that the end part of the riddle may be referring to justice, because it is something that never is truly, true justice is never truly attained, and justice is the bane of everything that is evil, because justice is
It's like the repercussion
the repercussion
of
of it.
evil.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Okay, I can get down with that. That last part makes sense. Like, just. Mm-mm.
So whoever, it seems like this is speaking of possibly a person, And this person is seeking justice. They're seeking that which is never truly attained. They're seeking justice.
They sure are.
Um,
Like the cop. Like
and the
a
first part, we come in all shapes and
yeah.
sizes. That almost sounds like it's describing just people in general and how there's various different. It doesn't have to be a specific race. Like it could be a dwarf, it
Right.
could be a
Which is kind of what
gnome,
I
it
was
could
thinking
be
along the lines of like a guardian or a hero
it could
or something
be
like that.
a
Like a
Vigon, it could
paladin
be.
specifically? I don't know.
But then at the same time they have status. So it has to be someone that has a position, whether a noble or something else.
Right.
They're
So
seeking
I kind of
justice,
yeah.
and yet at the
So
same time they can be anybody. Or any type of race, I guess, would be. Not just anybody, because not just anybody has a position of
right.
importance or. But what could the middle part mean? We hurt and heal without moving. But
I'm
not
thinking
without
that it
substantial.
might be less literal and more like figurative at this point. Um, just with sticking with the justice theme, like they're gonna, the without moving bit is more figurative. Like we're not gonna change our stance about what we're doing. Maybe. Because if you're dealing out justice, you would hurt those who deserve to be punished and then heal those in a way that would be given like restitution.
Yeah, you hurt those that did the wrong, but true
Yeah.
justice is going to hurt those that did the wrong and heal, even though some wounds will not completely heal, it is healing nonetheless.
Yeah.
But who would do that without moving?
Could it just be like a judge? Because they just sit there and they whack. That's it. That's the end. Like, bam, the end.
I mean, it would make sense. I mean, the next part about without substantial proving sounds kind of
Like a
like
court?
kind of almost like what you went through with the dragon almost. Like you had to prove yourself.
Maybe it's like a jury. Because that would be a whole bunch of people and they have the status of juror trying to
But
do
the
this
jury
stuff.
doesn't have like a
Yeah.
status though. Like it's not.
I guess.
I think Isaac speaks up. I think between the jury and the judge, I think the judge makes more sense in my mind.
More sense. I'm down to try anything, I guess.
I mean, according to this book, too, it seems like they were almost like traveling judges, I guess, in a way. Like, I don't know.
It's such a weird job. All right.
Well, I mean, they were nobles, so it's not like they needed to have a job per se.
Right. But it has to come from somewhere. Chance. Stop licking my shoe.
Well,
No.
why don't we try one of these on the door? Maybe that
Okay,
one of
well,
these is
we
the
can start
answer.
with judge and just see if that just works. We can move on to jury or just general justice. We can just try all of those, I guess.
Okay. Which one do you
All right.
want to
Well,
start
we're
with?
gonna start with judge
Okay.
because it does seem like a good answer.
How are you saying this?
Um, everything else has been in Elvish, so I just assume that I need to say it in Elvish,
Okay.
like High Elven.
Okay.
But the book's in Sildarin. Yeah,
What's that?
isn't the book in the other Elven
It
language?
is. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just try it in High Elvish first.
Okay. I mean, the riddle was written in High Elvish. So,
Okay, yeah. Then let's do that. Yeah.
all right. So, you guys have your short little meeting of the mind, so to speak, trying to come up with ideas. And you stand up, and both Derek and Isaac kind of stand behind you as you stand there 2 steps from the wall, and the sword is in the wall, and there's a little bit of light from the glow of the sword going whoom, whoom, and you say judge in High Elven, and you hear this, and you see the wall just start parting in half, with the sword being carried off to one side. Into a dark interior.
We, meaning you, are so smart. All right.
Oh, man. Okay. Alright. Alright. So, the wall ends up, or the door ends up splitting, and the sword stops before it runs into the wall. You retrieve the sword, and you begin heading down the stairs. As you are going down the stairs, it is on the other side of this wall is cement bricks on both sides, and you see the
I have a
steps.
question. Like,
Sure.
I know I keep doing this and I feel bad every time you explain something really cool. Can I try and like close the door again? Like, once we're all in, like, judge, 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 and like close the door.
Okay. You turn around and take you take the sword out, and then you walk
Cool.
through and say judge, but the door remains open.
Unjudge.
It still is open.
Blast. Well, okay.
So, as I said before, there is cement bricks on both sides going down, and the stairs go down to a platform, and then there's more stairs that go down to a door that you can see. But as you guys are passing through the door, Isaac snaps his fingers, and there's a little bead of light that shows up, so
Door
you guys can
go.
see, which reveals what I'm telling you. As you guys get down to the platform that is at the bottom of the set of steps that you're on, you hear this, and you look
Oh,
behind, and
now it closes.
you see the door behind you closing, or the wall forming back together.
Sure. It was a delayed response. That's all.
All right. So as you get down to the bottom of the stairs, you look through the door, and you see a railing going around in a circular fashion. On the far end of the room, you see a picture or a painting, rather large painting of an individual, though it's hard to tell whether it's a male or female. And there is a giant chandelier in the middle. As you make your way into this room, there are banners hanging draped on the walls surrounding the room that are red with a golden symbol on in the center, and the symbol is that of the Belmont family. There are busts of, like, from the shoulders up, of various individuals going around this room. As you come in, and there's that railing that goes around, there is a part that goes straight forward out of the doorway that you're coming through that goes into this circular part that just goes straight down, and there is a spiraling staircase that goes down. And this room is maybe 20 by 20-ish circular, so like a 20-foot radius ish, maybe a little bit bigger.
Okay. And this is on the other side of the door?
Of the door at the bottom
At
of
the
the
bottom.
stairs.
Yeah. Okay.
This is through the door at the bottom of the stairs, which there is
Right.
no door to, it's just a doorway.
Okay. So door goes down to a doorway in a circular room with big tall banners. There's a railing, and then there's stairs that go down.
Yep, and the stairs go
How
down.
high was the ceiling? I missed that bit.
Ceiling's probably a good 15, 20 feet.
Is it domed?
Yes, it does dome.
Okay.
And as I said, there's a chandelier that hangs from the center,
All right.
smack dab in the middle of this like hole that goes down through where the steps kind of wind down.
Okay. Let's go look at that painting.
All right. You guys make your way over to the painting, and you find a elven man in armor that is wearing blue and white cloths and things like that, and decorations for the armor. Long,
Golden
like
white.
silverish hair, and he's standing there basically in a pose-like fashion, with a sword that he is gripping in his hand, but the blade is going down towards the floor. Like I said, he's kind of doing like a posing portrait fashion.
Does it have like a little placard at the bottom? Like the name of the portrait or something?
Yes, it says Elthiel Belmont on the bottom. There's a little...
Oh, that's so cool. Does he look angry?
No, he just kind of looks stoic, I guess. Be the best way to describe it. Got that pose of like holding a sword out to the side and has his, his arm or his hand on his fist.
Oh, okay. I was picturing it pointing like down. Okay. Got it. Fascinating.
Yep.
Can I touch any of the banners?
Sure.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna like touch it a little bit.
Okay.
But not like hard. I don't want to break it if it's really fragile.
The first thing that you notice is the amount of dust that is formed on this thing. So you kind of touch it and it's like, oh, that's kind of got a little bit of grit to it. Oh boy.
It's crusty.
That's got some dust on it. But it seems like it is a very finely made, but yet very... like this would have quite a bit of weight to it if you were to take it off of the
How many of them are there?
Going around, there would be a total of Probably like 7 or 8 going around the room.
Okay. I look over the railing.
Okay. Looking down, you
Mm-hmm.
see the staircase that I said about winding down, but it goes to another level. And looking down, Isaac kind of peers over with you, and the ball of light kind of sheds some light. You see another room similar to what you're in, with banners going around, no busts around the outskirts, but the rail or the steps kind of wind down to another level where someone can either stop at that level, and there's a wooden walkway that goes around similar to what you're on now, and there's a walkway that goes across the center of the circle that goes around the outside.
Ooh,
But then the stairs also keep winding down to another level.
fancy. Were there like statues on this level that I
There
just
are,
forgot?
yeah,
Okay.
there are busts on
That's
this.
my bad. I was taking notes and I apparently can't listen and take notes at the same time. Can I like just look at like the names on them?
Okay. You see one for Elthiel, which is like
Okay.
right next to his portrait, and then going around from there, you see his 2 sons. Um, I believe it's Torridale and
I've
Sifidale, I
got it
believe.
here somewhere. Yeah, it's over here somewhere.
Tordale and Sifidale. And then from there you see Maniel and Vophiel, Mamriel and Ladariel. And
Well, that's a
then
new name. What was that last one?
Ladariel? That is one that you came across in the noble families of the Third Age. His name was mentioned.
Oh, he's on the other side.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
on
never mind. I
Sifidale's
see him
side.
now. Okay. Yeah.
And then the
Okay.
last bust, you notice like all of them have long hair that goes down to like probably you would assume like mid back or maybe longer.
Okay.
But the last bust that you come to, which has the title or the name yeah, Tristan to it, has short hair that basically comes to like the ears, but it's not like raggedy, but it's at the same time not not super well kept. Um, and his ears are not as pronounced as the others as well.
Okay. Right. Let me just double check all my notes again. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, there he is. I found him again. All right. Yeah, he's that guy. Because of Sabrina. Got it. Okay. Got it. He's the last one.
Yes, he's the last bust.
Okay. Got it. All right, let's go downstairs.
Okay. So as I said,
I look at the chandelier though to make sure it's not gonna spit fire at me or anything. Is it on?
Nope.
It's not on.
Nope.
Does it look like there's a way to turn it on?
You look around for like switches and whatnot. You don't see any switches or anything that seems like it would empower this in some way with like some sort of blessing or empowerment. It doesn't seem like there is anything like that. The chandelier itself doesn't have like any stones or anything like that on it that would seem like normal for something that has an empowerment to it. It just has candles that go around.
Oh, so it looks like it needs like fire.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get fire up there. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead if I can. And I'll use the dragon to do the detect empowerment.
Okay.
And I'll let
Nothing in your view as of now.
yeah. And I'll let everybody see with it. It lasts for an hour. So
Yeah. The only thing that you would, what is that, 30 feet?
30 feet, yeah.
Yeah. That would be, you might catch the door that you came through, possibly, depending on where
I don't
you
know.
are in the room. If you're on the
Okay.
far end of the room where the painting is, you're not going to pick the door up. But if you were back kind of at the entryway, you would pick the door up.
Okay. Well, let's go downstairs.
All right, so you go down the winding staircase, and as I said, it just kind of makes like a half a turn, and then there's another floor here with a wooden platform with a railing and whatnot that goes around, and there's more banners on this floor.
Okay.
On this floor as well, you do see the banners alternate between parts of the wall, and in between the banners there are more paintings or murals of, I guess not a mural, but paintings of individuals.
Yeah, I'll definitely note those two. It still goes down more though,
Yep.
I assume.
Yep.
Okay. I'll look for any like secret little nuggets or anything behind the pictures. Just kind of looky as we go.
Okay. I mean, your blessings and miracles, your detect is still up. You don't. There's nothing empowered that you're picking up here.
Right, but anything like physical, like if there's a door or a hidden little alcove or something.
Nothing.
Yeah, I just look into that. All right, what paintings do we have? How many painting names do you?
Basically, same amount of paintings as there were busts up top.
Okay.
Except for with the exception of Elthiel.
All right.
There's paintings for each individual Belmont that there was a bust for on the floor above. Basically in a similar pose. Some of them might have like swords or whatever that they're kind of holding like that, or in front of them or something like that. They might have a bit of a different pose, but essentially like a stoic kind of look.
With the ones that I know had like the dragon, do I see like the same like pommel like in the sword? Not necessarily the same type of sword, because I know that it can like change it, but like the same like hilt design.
Referring back to what you saw for Elthiel, you didn't. It was a different pommel. And the pommel changes. Let me pull up the notes here so I give you the right name. The pommel changes or looks different in Manuel's portrait. So not Torridale, which was Elthiel's son, but so this would have been Torridale's son, Manuel.
So Elthiel and Torridale have the same sword? Question mark.
No, they do not. Sifidale
but
does
the
not.
pommels look the same.
No, actually, Sifidale, Vofiel, and Ladariel, they do not have a sword that resembles the dragon.
Right, I would assume that they wouldn't.
Yeah, they
I
did
meant
not.
like the ones that I knew.
Yeah, only Elthiel, Torridale, Manuel, and Mamriel, and even going down to Tristan.
Right, and that's what I was saying. Does it look like they have a similar like hilt, like that? It would look like the dragon, though I know it changes forms, but it looks like it's that. in their pictures.
Yeah, like you taking a look at it and knowing just from artistry and your background that this is not the same sword, but it seems like the painting was done to make it look like it was the same sword.
Okay. Cool. I think I'm still a little confused, but I'll accept confusion at this point. Let's keep going down.
I mean, there's been a lot of secrecy with this family, so you're not. I mean, there could be.
Yeah, I'm okay with a little confusion. To be
So.
expected at this point.
If my camera will actually, like, focus instead of. There we go. Focus, focus, focus.
Look at me.
Yeah, I'm talking about the one that's for the recording. It's just
Yeah.
being funny. Okay, there we go. All right.
Stare it
So
deep
you want
into
to
its
go?
eyes.
You want to go down to the next floor?
Yeah.
Okay. Going down, you come to a cement floor with a carpet, a circular carpet at the bottom, directly center in the room. Same type of design as the banners, with it being red with a golden symbol in the center. And there is a door with an actual door, or a doorway with an actual door in it,
Real door.
leading out of this chamber.
All right. Anything else other than the carpet?
Nope.
At the bottom? No. Okay.
No banners or anything like that.
All right. Hey, Mr. Dragon, you remembering anything this in any way helpful?
No response.
Okay. Good talk. All right. Guess we'll keep going.
Okay. So you
Go up to the door.
Yep. Try the knob.
Let me guess. It's locked, and there's another riddle.
No, there is. It is not
Praise
locked.
God. Yes.
So you take the knob and press down, and door opens and leads you into.
Nice.
You see you walk into a large room that you can't see the other end of. And you see in front of you 2 pillars going up. And there is red carpet basically as soon as you enter this room, that goes off into both left and right direction. And as you progress forward, there's another circular symbol and of the Belmont crest there. And the carpet goes off to the left and right. What's that?
In the carpet? Like on the floor?
Yeah.
Like in stone or in like the carpet?
The carpet. It's a carpet design.
Okay.
And there is a wooden railing that goes around there and disappears into the darkness on the left and right. And there is a balcony-ish, similar to what you had on the first level when you came through that door, where there was the busts and everything, and the stairs went down in a circle, and there was kind of a what did I just call it? A balcony, so to speak, straight ahead going through this door that seems like there's stairs going down.
Okay.
Also, there is a metal mechanism off to the left-hand side that seems to have
Oh.
a button of sorts.
You know how much I like to push buttons. Guys, I really hope this is like lighting. But I'm gonna poke it.
Okay, so you go over and you do see a little bit of a hue around this button.
Oh.
There is
Oh.
a green hue around this
Green.
button.
Okay. Green. Okay. Guys, I think I still want to poke it.
Okay. So you press the button and you see various different points in this room. You just see like a flash of light, like a going down the sides of the room, and little blue stones appear throughout the room surrounding the room. As these are flashing, you see going out to 30 feet, you see green flashes going along the walls out to 30 feet.
Nice. I don't know what those do. Cool. Should I clap to like turn the lights on?
I wonder if there's an electricity bill. On, off, on, off, on, off.
They have been unpaid for centuries. Oh no.
And they still work.
That's the kicker. They haven't turned it off yet.
Oh, man.
Is there a globe nearby? Can I poke it? I clearly like to poke things. What are those little globe things, the blue ones?
Yeah, there is, and it's kind of like a sconch that comes out, and then it's just kind of holding this blue rock, almost like a ring holds a gemstone, kind of.
Oh. I'm gonna poke it.
Okay. Yeah, it's like a solid crystal-like rock. A little warm to the touch.
Is it giving off light? Like, is it actually a light?
Yeah.
Like a lot of light or like a little bit?
It's about like torchlight, but it's like a blue.
Okay.
Like a blue accent.
Does it feel like really solid? Like it's in there really tight?
I mean, it seems to be there pretty solid, but.
Oh, okay. Well, if it's not just like sitting in there, then I won't mess with it. Okay.
Someone's like, I want to take one of these and put it in my pocket for later.
Sure does.
I can't take the button with me, but I will take this.
Yes. If there's one thing that I got from my family in the inheritance, it was the lights.
Ta-da!
I got all of the light bulbs.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, I just flipped my notes. Okay. Carpet. Blah blah blah.
Don't flip the notes.
I flipped my notes over. Now I don't remember what the room looks like. Okay. So let's go around the upstairs bit, and we'll start on the right, I guess.
All right.
On like the balcony area. Right balcony. Ish.
And let me.
Like huge. Should we say like hello?
I mean, sure, Isaac says.
Really?
That is not the sound that I want. Alright, well.
Usually when you go into like really old places that haven't been touched for a long time, you shouldn't actually scream hello.
Hello.
No, Isaac, no.
Why?
I know this is only your second outing, but please. Don't awaken the giant stone monsters that are probably in here. Just kidding.
All right. Top floor. As you're going around, you
Okay,
notice what.
balcony.
Yeah, the top balcony that you are on.
Yep. Okay.
Looking around,
Boop.
even with the lighting, you see that there are rows of books on the left and right side.
Oh my goodness. Look at all these books.
Yeah. Like, similar to the size of, like, the compendium ish. Seems about like the collective size of what these books would probably be. Maybe a
Wow.
little bit more.
That's a lot of books.
Yep. Also, now that the room is lit up as well, you notice that
Ooh.
maybe 20 feet or so from that balcony where the stairs go down, there's
Mhm.
actually like a bridge that goes across from the left and right side where the books are. There's a bridge with chains and whatnot that has kind of a pulley system or whatever designed to it so you can lower and raise that bridge as you wish. Um, and it allows you to not have to go around the whole entire room to go from one side to the other, but midway through,
Ah,
there is
a balcony
a
bridge
bridge that goes across.
with bridge.
Not super, super fancy, kind of, not as like the temple had it, but it definitely is, workable.
Fascinating. Can't. No.
But that is what is on the top floor is just like a U-shaped um, section of books, and then like a center row of books, and then beside it is another U-shaped section with a row in the middle, and then same thing just goes on down both sides that way. If that makes sense.
I think so. I'll just gently peruse the titles, but I'm not gonna pull any off unless they're really interesting.
Okay. Um, Go ahead and roll an investigation check for me just to see what you
Okay.
find with a quick glance.
Okay. Put that back the way it was. It's nice time. Yeah. I got a 4.
Okay.
Out of 12, which I
Um,
think is just major.
going going
Nope.
through
Great.
um the different on the right hand side, you start going through these U-shaped sections and start looking at some of the labels that are there, as well as some of the titles. You notice that there are sections in this library first floor that pertains to there various different types of records from the Great War, from the family in general. Um, there's even some records that date back um, early Second Age and before. Um, and so these are on both sides. There's a wide variety of different types of subjects that are in this collection. Some of the books that you pick out just in passing actually seem familiar to you on books that you have come across in your studies to even get to this point. Um, Titles like Creatures of the Night, Aerosol Recour, Noble Families of the Great War, Noble Families of the Third Age, um, The Bear Man by Hadwin Stoutman, um, a book with the title Alduin. You find various different titles, various different books that you have seen on just in your research to even get to this place. So it seems like this collection is very similar to that of the compendium, of very specific and rare subjects, and some of them even might be, one of like 6 copies of a particular book that exist in the world.
Well, we got a good deal on this house, I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, Isaac is just kind of walking around, and he's just like his mouth is just like gaping open, just like, I cannot believe where I'm standing right now. Like, this is incredible. And this was all beneath your guys' estate. Like, he's just flabbergasted.
Well, you know why Mr. McClure was so angry to get the sword.
You mean anxious or desiring the sword?
Sure. But he was, wanted it so bad he killed that guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure, there's a wealth of knowledge down here, and who knows what kind of things we could find, but I mean, I don't really know what his motives were, and if it was just for this. I mean, okay.
I mean, he had a lot of old stuff. Had like
yeah.
a coin collection,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, this is incredible, though. I mean, just the amount of knowledge and the amount of information that's held here, and I can't even imagine. This is like our own private, personal collection library. Like, this is incredible. And he's just like wandering around, like perusing just various different subjects and pulling books out and looking at them, and like, oh, and then he just kind of like, puts it under his arm, and he's like going around to another one, like, oh, I'm gonna read this one too, and this one, and this.
All right, it's like a library. You've got like a max of 2 or 3 books, and you have to like read them, bring them back in a week. All right.
Right. Sure. And he kind of like saunters around the side of one of the bookshelves, like he's trying to get away from you. Just be like, doo doo doo. I'm just like, don't want you watching me.
All right, I'll let him play with the books. I'm gonna go downstairs with Derek, I guess.
Okay. So there is only one there is stairways that go down on the ends of both the right and left hand side, and then there's the stairway that is at the center of where you came into this room at. All 3 of them kind of have like that balcony aspect of walk out, and then there's the stairs that go down the side down to the next floor.
Okay.
And the difference alone between like the bottom floor and the top floor is a good like 20 feet ish.
So, wow, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. But going down to the next section, there are 5 areas that you find in this bottom part. There's 2 on each side, and there's one kind of in the far back, kind of where the stairs come down at the ends there on the left hand right side. There's a doorway down there, and there's a carpet that basically goes from that middle stairway where it comes down, or that stairs that come down from the center. There's red carpet that goes off into the center, forms like a circle where there's a podium like stand with a pretty large book. Like, imagine like kind of what a church has is like a big display Bible, like that kind of size of a
Okay.
book. But there's that smack dab in the middle of the room, in this circular area of the rug that goes through, and then the rug continues to that doorway on the far end of the room. Which side do you want to go to?
I got really distracted by the podium in the middle.
Okay.
You said there were like 5 places in the
There's
room?
5 sections in this bottom portion. There's 2 on each side, and then there's 1 at the far end.
Okay. What do you mean by like a section? Like a sectioned off room area?
Yeah,
Or
almost like just a big like cubicle section.
okay, gotcha.
And some of them are even just like a doorway that ends up leading into like a square room.
All right. I'm gonna start with the podium in the middle and then like poke my head kind of gently in each of them.
Okay. The podium has that big, large book on it, and it basically covers a general log of different books that are different types of information that are in the library, and also a log of different types of things that are kept in this lower part. You see different titles going down through, like the books and things like that that are in this ledger. You see some titles that you recognize that I mentioned earlier. And then when you get to the latter half, where there's actually notes of like different things that are either being stored or in this bottom part somewhere. You see different things or different what's the word I'm looking for? Notations of like different types of creatures, different types of herbs and things like that, different types of ingredients, a wide variety of different notations in this latter part of the ledger. But that's basically what this big book is.
Okay. Cool. As I flip through the ledger, is there like a specific like I don't know, like effects of the Brutum Morbus or like the evils of the Brutum Morbus or the Vela Morbus versus the Brutum Morbus or like anything specific like about that would kind of stick out? Or I can kind of holler up to Isaac and be like, go to the 3rd shelf on the left or something.
Um, there is a notation of that mentions there being a section that is completely. It doesn't have any titles with it, but it has basically written down as Belmont Diaries. Then there is. Let's see here. There are different titles of various different historical events that, as you're going down through, you think to yourself, well, there was a lot of things that happened that we read about for like the Great War, the Great Revolt, even some political things of like various different individuals using Brutum Morbus and whatnot. So there are some titles that look like there could possibly be something there, but there's nothing there that like blatantly
Okay.
says like, you
No,
know,
just
Brutum
obvious
Morbus or
Brutum
something
Morbus
like that.
book.
Yeah, there's no
Okay.
titles that are just blatantly
Gotcha.
coming out. The only
Okay.
one that kind of screams Brutum Morbus to you is the one that I mentioned earlier that's called The Bear Man by
Right.
Hadwin Stoutman, which was the medical practitioner account that you guys found in the library when the party was doing their research.
Right. Okay. Hey, Isaac, try to find the bear man.
Little busy.
Bear man.
What about it?
Find it, please. It's a book.
Okay.
Thank you. Read that one first.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll poke my head in the rooms, I guess.
Okay. Let me scroll back up here. All right. So one of the square areas that is just a open area looks like a personalized apothecary. Basically just anything that anybody could possibly desire for making potions, like generic potions, and salves and things like that. All here, all kinds of different herbs, mushrooms, all different types of bottles and ingredients and things like that. Found in this squared off like cubicle section of the downstairs. Another one that basically has that is a doorway that leads into a square room. Basically has a sand pit in the middle, and there's a concrete outside that goes around, and there's various different types of just generic types of weapons, from pole arms to hammers, swords, bows, all that sorts of thing. Also, on one end there is like circular targets for like archery and things like that.
Okay.
In another section on the other side is another walled off area that has a doorway that leads into it. That is, as you walk in, you feel very much at home because it is full of various different types of paintings of different landscapes, different types of like heroic poses of someone shoving a spear into like some sort of beast or something like that. There are statues and busts and things like that in here. Basically, an art and statue gallery in this room. And the final one is another part of it is walled and part of it is a cubicle. In this section, you find cupboards with glass windowed doors. Then the cupboard is two shelves, and that you can see in through the glass. Various different types of trophies from different types of creatures, from claws to feet and heads and just different types of memorial trophies for various different types of things. There are different things in here that are just like a skull, but there's also like a sword and shield next to it, which is a little odd because that doesn't mean anything to you, but it's just kind of odd that there would be a human skull and like a sword and shield next to it. But various different types of, like I said, trophies from different types of creatures, feet. There are some heads as well mounted on the wall on plaques and whatnot. The walled off section, you walk in and there are two of these rock like lights that have been used to light up this entire large room outside, and there are two of them in this room directly in the center. And as you walk in, you are greeted with, basically a few feet from your head, there is a giant skull that is hanging from the ceiling, and it seems like there is a skeleton that goes across the entire, all the way back to the far end of this room. basically, for your reference, this is basically the size of like a T-Rex head and the backbone basically going down the center of this room. But it is hanging from the ceiling.
Dang.
Yeah.
Is it like a big snake?
No, it's
Does it have
a
legs?
creature that you have not come across before. But for your reference, it looks very much like a T-Rex.
Oh, okay.
Without the legs, and it's just the skull and the backbone
Oh, okay.
being hung from the ceiling back through the room.
That is so crazy. Does any of this like light up at all?
There are two sconces directly in the middle
Right,
on
like
both
with
sides.
my detect empowerment up.
The sconces do. That's it.
Okay.
There are some things on the other side that do have a faint hue to them in the area where the other trophies were.
Oh, like the sword and the shield or something?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll head back that way.
Okay. As I said, various different types of things. There's things that look like, similar to what you guys faced in Whetstone. The living statue.
Um,
There's different things that look like pieces that were taken from a construct of some sort, like, the bracers or a belt or something, but there's still like stone attached to it. As well as a jewel that is broken, that is along with those like bracers or whatever. That sword and shield that is with the skeleton do have a faint red hue. There are some creature remains as well, like an arm or a foot or like a talon or something like that, or I should say like a foot that has like claws or talons to it, that have like a faint hue, various different hues from green, and there are some that are red as well, that just have like a faint residuum or residue like hue to it, like at some point whatever creature this came off of had some sort of empowerment to it, or empowerment aspect to it, or something. But this seems like there's some kind of lingering residue empowerment there.
Cool. Okay, I'll go back.
Different, all kinds of different like curiosities of different things that are just like, oh, well, that's interesting. Wonder what that is.
Yeah, it's like having an alligator head in a jar.
Yeah. Yep. There are some things as well as you're perusing this where you find a like a jar that has like some kind of organ in it. There are some here that have like, there is a jar that has like an eyeball in it, and it's uncanny as you walk by. It almost seems like the eyeball is kind of moving and watching you as you pass by.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
And that one does give off a faint red hue to it.
Give it a little like finger wave as I leave. Like, bye. I'm out.
Oh man. All right, so that is the sections in the bottom part.
This is fancy.
Yep. Let me pull these things up so I can kind of give you an idea of a more accurate description of some of the things that some more oddities that you might find in these trophy things or these trophy displays. Um, Along with the skull that has the shield and sword, there is one that as well has a bow that has a faint
A bow with feet?
a bow that has a faint red hue to it.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, I thought you meant like it was like a bow with a pair of feet.
No.
Like on the bow.
No.
Okay.
There is as well a head in there that looks feminine, but it has basically looks like dead snakes for hair. Um, there is plants that are like spread open like that and have like teeth in them going along the leaves.
Oh, that's
Um,
crazy. We have a
uh,
few of those, but they don't have teeth.
yeah. There are some things that look familiar, like tangle grass
Yeah,
and things like that.
they're
Um,
nasty.
there are various different types of like very large, like you would think for an animal that it looks like it belongs to, but it's like ram horns, but extremely large for what you would consider just a regular like ram or goat, along with a pair of hoofs that are just like enormous for the size of an animal that you're familiar with. Um,
One big goat.
there are several fish-like heads in here too that look. Some look reptilian. Some of them look more fish-like, but all of them look very unpleasant to if they were all attached to a living entity or whatever. If it were to be you like facing off against it would not be pleasant. Um,
I believe that.
let's see here. What else do we got? Um, yeah, that's about it for the stuff that I have. Just some odds and end like ideas of what might
Okay.
be in these cases.
Nice.
On the mountain on the walls there are different types of heads from things that you're familiar with, dragons and hydras, and there are several lizard-esque ish looking heads that are a little bit more on the larger side, but they're not like a dragon or hydra. Um, but they do look like a rather large lizard, almost like a prairie lizard ish, or some of them look like they should be something similar in size or larger, but it's a lizard head that you've never seen before. Uh, yeah, all kinds of different things for trophies.
Interesting.
Let's see here. For the statues, there are some that are, all of them have some sort of uh, wear on them, I guess you could say, where there's like an arm missing or something like that, or a foot missing. So,
Broken.
they probably were in some ruin at some point, or were recovered from somewhere at some point, and were just put here
Wow.
as memorials, or just to say that this was something that we could have sold to someone for an expensive trophy or whatever, but we kept it as kind of a trophy or for a display piece. Different types of things from different male, female, and different types of poses from heroic to someone like a lady in robes like reaching down, like they're reaching down to help somebody get up off the ground. There is one of an individual that is larger than the rest, but also has wings that are not unfurled out, but they are kind of folded in the back, like they're not outstretched. Very pleasant looking face. This is a male figure. Very attractive looking, very masculine, and very fit looking. But has like these almost like bird wings that are on the middle, well, the upper back, kind of where the shoulder blades are, but they have like a wing, two wings that go out both sides, but they're folded in the back.
I've never seen a winged person. Have you?
Who are you asking? Because you're kind of in here alone.
Derek.
Okay. Derek's kind of wandering around. No,
down here
I mean, unless you want to specifically wander around with him.
I mean, vaguely.
Okay.
I'm not gonna make sure he was within 4 feet of me all the time, but
okay.
Vaguely.
You kind of say that as he's just waiting kind of at the door, and he comes over and looks at it. He goes, "Nope, can't say that I've ever seen anyone like this before. Kind of a big boy, isn't he?"
How tall are we talking here?
Close to 11 feet ish.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty tall.
Yep.
It's taller than Raylog.
Yep.
They're really tall.
Yep. Let's see. Anything else? Nope, that's pretty much it. For things that I have, specifically written down as curiosities that you would find. At least for this lower part, anyway.
Well, looks like there's one more door.
Oh, yes. That far end, at the far end of the room.
Yeah.
That basically leads into a dungeon or a jail-like room with different types of cells and cages. Oh, I also forgot to mention for the trophy section, there was one specific cupboard that was set by itself that is 8 foot long and has sliding glass doors, so they're not like a wooden frame with a glass centerpiece. It's just complete glass sliding doors. 2 shelves, and they're displaying skulls. And they look like human skulls, but if you look at the front part of where the teeth are, there's 2 very pronounced fang-like teeth. And it's just like the top portion of the skull with no lower jaw.
Hey, stop it. Oh, gotcha. That's our Vela Morbus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well. That's it. There's no more doors in here, huh?
Yep. No more rooms, no more doors.
Cool. Does it look like there was anyone stuck in the jail?
No, there are no
Okay,
like
good.
remains or skeletons or anything like that.
Sweet.
Nope.
Okay. Any of this cool dead stuff bring back any memories, Dragon, my dude?
Still quiet. Still
Maybe we
quiet.
need to like. Hmm. Hmm.
Keep in mind, when you first started for this session, it was 8, 9 o'clock at night ish.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've had some time to think and discuss to try to get in here, and then you have your
No.
exploration. So it's going on probably close to 10 o'clock at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we know where it is, and we know how to get in here again.
This is true.
Probably. So maybe we just go to bed. We've been like reading books all day, and then we saw a murder, and then we thought Conlon was all dead, but he's okay. Now we came down here and we broke our brains on a riddle. We explored a ruin, kind of, that's still awesome. It has like my family stuff in it all over the place. How about we go to sleep? It's been a really long day.
Um, as you are saying this and you and Derek are heading up to the top floor, you find Isaac on a couch that is amongst the library portion, and he's like laying there back, and he has his head's off to the side like that, and has some drool that's coming down the one side, and just has like a book that's just like laying on his chest, and he's just like
Not on the book, not on the book.
yeah, it didn't take him long. Reading just sends him right off. He's been doing it a lot lately.
No wonder his research has been so slow. Oh, man. Oh,
Well,
well,
Derek kind of looks at you and like, well, should we wake him or should we just try to find a bench ourselves and sleep for the night?
I mean, I'm not gonna move him.
Yeah, I don't know. He might hit me with an ice ball or something. I don't know if I want to wake him up.
That would be really unfortunate.
Just goes flying off the railing. Ah!
Oh, no.
No,
Yeah, all
Derek,
right.
no! Talk to me,
So
Derek. Tell me you're okay.
let's not go with that option. Let's go with the sleeping option where no one dies.
Okay. All right, so you guys end up going and you both go and find some other couches. Do you want to move them kind of closer so that you guys are kind of relatively in the same area, or are you just gonna find a bench and sleep on it?
I don't mind scooting him kind of close together, like 20, 30 feet-ish.
Okay. All right, so you guys move these, and these are, nice benches. They're not, or I should say couches. They're more couches. They are cushioned and everything. So they're not just like a hardwood thing. But you guys end up taking a rest and then eventually wake up the next morning. However, Sibble,
Uh-oh.
while you are sleeping, you have a dream of similar to it seems familiar in a sense because it seems similar to the vision that you had when you were speaking with the dragon about his previous owner or previous wielder. And this vision is kind of from the point of view of the sword. And it starts off with a familiar scene, like the wielder is in the middle of a chase, in the middle of chasing something. They are outside of a door somewhere, and it seems as if the wielder is having a conversation with someone else, and they're discussing how they're going to breach this next room, how they're going to breach a tower, essentially. And you hear a familiar voice that is not the wielder, but you swear you know the voice, but you can't put your finger on it at the moment, because it seems very familiar, but at the same time it seems different. Not drastically, but just a little different. But they talk about how they're going to breach this door and breach the tower, and then you see them enter the tower, and then you see a fight ensue between these two individuals along with several others, and they are fighting multiple other entities that are moving very, very quick and seem to be like at unnatural speeds, and at the same time seem to have a unnatural strength to them. The vision kind of fades midway through the conflict, and the vision comes back to the wielder walking through streets in a town or city, and entering his home essentially. And you first see just blood splattered on a wall, just like caked on a wall. And you see the position of whoever the wielder is, kind of like they were standing and then they just fall down to their knees, and it seems like they are just rocking forward, almost like putting their head on the floor, and just you can hear weeping, just complete and utter broken individual weeping. And you wake up and you're just like, you're sweating, and it just is like, whoa, that didn't seem like just an ordinary dream. It seemed real. It seemed like it was almost like a memory of sorts. But you don't remember anything like that from your own personal experience. But it seems like it was a memory of some sort. But you end up falling back asleep after some time and wake up the next day to finding only you and Derek on your couches.
Great. Okay. Ugh.
You are a little bit stiff from sleeping on a couch, but it's better than sleeping on the ground with a root in your back or something like that, so.
Yeah, it's always the rocks. No matter where you move, there's always another one.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yep.
I hate camping.
All right. So you and Derek kind of get around and kind of help yourselves wake up and whatnot, and start looking around, trying to see if you can find Isaac, but you do not see Isaac.
Okay.
However, like 10 minutes ish, Isaac appears with a platter of different types of fruits and berries and some cooked meats on the platter.
What is this nonsense?
Well, I woke up and you two were still asleep, so I figured I would go up and see if Colin could whip us up something to eat for breakfast, and I figured I wouldn't disturb you and just bring it down, and when you were awake and ready, then we could have breakfast and continue exploring and see what we can find, or whatever you want to do. I mean, this is kind of your excursion, your investigation into. Derek and I are just kind of along for the ride, although this is a very interesting place. So, but
You're right. It is pretty cool.
But here, have some food. So you guys go through, have some breakfast. What do you want to look in here quickly? What do we want to look into, information wise, or if anything, or is there something else you wish to go and look into or do?
Well, we should skim through the books, probably look through the apothecary, see if there's anything in that head shelf. Yeah. I just need to get rid of this.
Okay.
Maybe there's like a secret behind one of the bookcases. I don't know. But
All right. So after you guys have breakfast, Isaac goes down with you to. You guys are talking, and you mentioned that you have. You took a look at the podium and the big index book down there that has basically a ledger of what you're assuming is probably everything that is within this large room.
right.
And he goes through and takes a look at it and is like, well, nothing really screams to me other than this one. And he points out the one by Hadwin. But all these other ones seem like ones that we've kind of looked into. The only thing that we haven't really looked at that would be potentially more might shed some more light on this would maybe be the personal diaries of the Belmonts. I mean, they, according to what we've seen and researched, it seems like they were, them and the other or the total of 5 noble families were very instrumental in hunting these things. So it seems like maybe their personal diaries would have some things that might be of importance, or maybe there's some books in there that have notes, or maybe I don't know. That's just my thought, though.
Likely true. I mean, the medical diary had a lot of information, so.
Yes, but we only found one of those, and it was in the second age. We didn't find anything for the third age.
Right. Yeah. I guess we can start there.
Okay. Going through into the Belmont, the personal side of the library on the top floor, with all the personal diaries, you find, let's see, collaborative notes you find on all different types of creatures: dragons, hydras, constructs, giants, all kinds of different creatures. And each one has its own little book. Some of them are bigger, some of them are larger, depending on how many different varieties there are of a particular type of creature. And at the same time, there are notes that are labeled Brutum and Vela Morbus.
That's what we're looking for.
There are, I will say that the amount is vastly different between the Vela and the Brutum. It seems like there is way more notes on the Vela Morbus than there are Brutum.
Okay.
But going down through this, there, you specifically looking into Brutum Morbus, in this you find collaborative tests and experiments from other noble families along with the Belmont family. All these tests and experiments are medical and or surgical. At the conclusion of the book or this collaborative set of notes, the conclusion is basically for Brutum Morbus, on that the individual basically has three options. The subject can either control or seek to control their urges, or their control being their aggravation, basically, or their urge to be aggravated, or their transformations. So
Okay.
that's an option. There is the second option, which is to be cured. And then there is the third option, which is for the subject to expire or be killed. Is the only three options that they mention. In this set of notes, there are notations of different types of weaknesses for Brutum Morbus. And as I said, this is collaborative, so this is notes that for some things are very, very vague at the beginning, or you first come across are very vague, or there aren't that much. But then as you get to farther into this account, there is more added on to it. But the total weaknesses that you find in this are Silver, Brutum's Bane, Moonstone, and a Primordial, which you have never heard of before. In these notes, there is mention of the various different types of heightened senses that they have for hearing, smelling, things like that. And later on, there is a full layout of a concoction that is put together that is referred to as a cure for Brutum Morbus. Or that is supposed to allow someone to be cured.
Okay, what's that got in it?
It mentions 5 ingredients. Red root, silver, or silver dust, I should say, is what the notation more specifically says. Brutum's Bane, half a pound of imbuminite, and petals of nightshade, which, if you wish to roll for that, you can roll to see what nightshade is, or any of these other ingredients. If you wish to roll a intelligence check to see if you recognize these.
Okay. This is the cure recipe. I cannot spell the word recipe. Perfect. Okay.
RECIPE.
RCIP. I clearly added an extra vowel for no reason. Like just one, just at the end, and I don't know why.
I
Okay.
don't know why, but I did.
I have herbalism as a non-weapon ability.
All right. What is that attribute?
Intelligence.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. Well, some of these you would recognize right off the bat. I mean, the silver is straightforward. Red
Sure.
root definitely throws a flag up for you because you remember doing
That's the
a.
stuff that I found for that lady that I was trying to visit.
Yes, exactly. Brutum's Bane, you have never heard of before.
Yeah,
However,
that's new.
in Bumanite you have. And
Yep.
Nightshade, you are familiar with, which is basically what we consider lavender or a lavender plant.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The notation for Brutum's Bane um, does have a drawing, kind of what the plant looks like. Um,
Okay.
and there is different notations of basically places that they were able to get it from. Nothing specifically mentioning like a place out in the wild, but kind of where they would purchase it from, essentially, which was basically they got a shipment from King's Harbor that they got it from, and it came from an unknown area that you are, or a place that you are have never or have heard of but have never been there, I should say. And it is not on Praxis. But the name of the
Where
place is Ifazera.
E
But they essentially had it shipped to Praxis, to King's Harbor, and then they would have it either pick it
Great.
up there or bring it.
Sybil's really angry.
Why are
It's
you
so
angry?
close. She's this close, and it's not really available. She's a little bit angry. Mm-hmm.
All right. Um,
Great.
there is as well, as I said, a set of notes for Vela Morbus as well.
Right. Okay.
Um, Same as before for Brutum Morbus, there was collaborative tests and experiments with other noble families that were more along the lines of medical and surgical. And the conclusion was either that the subject control the urge to feed, be cured, or that the subject would expire or be killed. The
Okay,
weaknesses
so kind of the
notated,
same thing.
yeah. The weaknesses notated were silver, running
Okay.
water,
Okay.
sunlight,
Okay.
and primordial or their creator. Which there again is that word that you have never seen or does not seem familiar to you.
Okay, yeah.
That is
Does any
not
smart person around here who reads a lot of books know what this is?
what the primordial part.
Yeah.
That is something that is unknown to Isaac as well. He has never seen something like that before.
Okay. Cool. That's weird that they're really weak to their creator, yeah.
Well, it not per se that they are weak to it, but something about that there is a weakness that is attached to it. Um, Essentially, it goes through and mentions that a someone who is infected by this, whoever infected them, essentially,
Hmm.
they are unable to harm their creator or whoever turned them into this,
Oh.
which is a weakness because someone could essentially use that as an advantage to say, well, I have, control over your master or your creator or whatever, so you do as I say, or, something to that effect. So it could be used as an advantage in very certain instances, but
Okay.
it is mentioned here of heightened senses as well. And there is mention of a cure in here as well, where there
Okay.
are ingredients written down. The ingredients are as follows:
Okay.
bloodroot, silver, same thing as before for silver shards or scrapings or however you want to notate it, silver
Okay.
dust, seeds of Ipamea.
Oh, wow.
Ipamea, from your herbalism, basically is a dark purple version of a morning glory, which is a flower that basically looks like a trumpet ish.
Yeah. How do you spell that?
Ipamea,
Yeah.
Ipomea. Ipamea.
Okay.
Half a pound of imbuminite.
Okay.
And rosemary.
Okay.
Let's see here. What else do we have? In this personal section as well, you find, as I mentioned, the personal diaries of each of the preceding Belmonts. These are separate than these collaborative notes on various creatures. These are their own personal diaries. In Elphiel's, you find mention of him writing about facing off against Pythias,
Yeah.
and mentions him or Pythias having two compatriots that exhibited extraordinary power similar to Pythias but different. A human that went by the name Zon that adorned a dark crown. Zon is Zaun.
Okay.
And Zon adorned a dark crown, and the other individual was, or went by the name Alamaeus, and he was described as a dark elf who carried a ring. Alemaeus is spelled Alemeus.
Okay.
And he was a dark elf who carried a ring. That's really the only thing of note that, you know, comes from Elthiel's diary. At least that seems important at this point, just from information that you've come across or things that you've shown interest in. You do find a journal for Tristan as well.
Oh, okay.
However, this one has a lot of blank pages in it at the end. However, Tristan wrote of. There is a mention of his mother being brutally murdered while Tristan and his father were pursuing what they referred to as a primordial Vela Morbus. According to Tristan, it was done to break his father, to break his will, and the killers only knew of the mother because of the silver wedding. Tristan describes after his mother's murder, his father fell into despair and became desperate and rash, which soon cost him his life.
Okay.
In this diary, you also find Tristan mentions Tiberius Van Maasdam, which you know that name from being your grandfather. Tiberius Van Maasdam, he mentions him and says, Tristan mentions Tiberius Van Maasdam, who helped on many different hunts that Tristan and his father went on. He also mentions being close friends with Tyrone and considered him like a brother since they practically grew up together, played together, and trained together.
My pencil lead keeps breaking. I'm writing too hard.
You a little nervous or something?
No, everything's fine. Meh. Blah, 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 blah. Pain. Okay. Okay. Got it.
All right. You also find in this area you notice a painting that is propped off in one of the corners, with the painting facing out, which is a little odd, which is why it catches your eye, because all the paintings and whatnot were either on display on the entrance down to this room or in the art and statue gallery.
Yeah.
But there is this painting here, and the painting is facing a chair that is set at that corner, facing it. And the painting shows Tristan, which you are familiar with the way he looks, because of the painting that you saw of all the Belmonts.
Right.
But it depicts Tristan next to a elven woman, and there is a baby boy being held by the two of them. However, what also is odd about this painting is that it is defaced by some sharp object being run down through it in various different angles, as if someone was angry or something and defaced this painting. But you are able to make out Tristan, an elven woman, and a baby boy.
Okay. Down to the bottom. Okay. Okay. Well, that's rude.
So,
Can't just go doing paintings like that. That's mean. That probably took at least 6 hours. All right. This is just uncalled for behavior.
all right. So, that is the new information that you find. I will, for next time, have a more specific I will have more specifics on Brutum's Bane and where you can find it and things like that.
Okay.
Just so you have more options than just getting it shipped or something. But I will have that for next time, for you to find some more information on that. But that we're gonna call it there, just because we're already past the 2 hour mark. So
Yeah, that works.
You have made it to the Vault Archives. The Belmont Vault Archives.
Yeah. I'm gonna need some clarification on a couple of things.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything particular I might be able to clarify a little bit?
Yeah, can you go back through the whole the Tiberius Van Mosdem section for me real quick?
Okay. So Tristan in his diary mentions Tiberius Van Mosdem, which you know to be or what you have referred to as your grandfather, or Tyrone, your father's father.
Yeah.
But Tristan mentions Tiberius Van Mosdem helping Tristan and his father. What was his father? Was it Mamriel? Helping them on various hunts. So whether it would be for
Wasn't that in like the middle to the front of the fourth age?
it would be around the uh, there are different hunts that he mentions that are kind of early on, which are like middle fourth age ish, which is where Tiberius is more active. But then, as you get closer to the end of the fourth age, is where more of Tyrone comes into the picture with, which he's mentioned earlier because, like I said, him and Tristan kind of grew up together, played together, and trained together. But there is mention of Tyrone also going seemingly on hunts as well, but this was late fourth age.
Oh, okay. I was confused about like the timeline.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. I was like, I know humans live for like a couple hundred years, but like we're talking like 5,000 years in an age ish.
Yeah. So,
So,
um, Tristan mentioning that Tiberius has been like helping his father and whatnot with hunts, goes
mhm.
back a little bit past the middle of the fourth age, um, and then
Okay.
as you get closer to the end of the fourth age is where um, Tristan more is like referring to him actively being part of it, but Tristan mentioning things that happened before he was even able to before he was even a thought, so to speak.
Right. Do I happen to know how old my dad is?
Um, well, let's see. Like you said, humans live to be a couple. I mean, they can live up to like 500 ish, maybe a little bit more years.
Yeah. Like Sybil's 66.
Yeah, which is still that's like being in your 20s,
Yeah.
essentially. Um, he would be closer to like 300 ish.
Gotcha. My dad is 300 years old. Ish. Cool.
He's no in no way, shape, or form in his prime, but he would be what we would consider maybe late 50s,
Yeah.
early 60s
Okay.
ish.
Gotcha. Not old, but on the way.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's seen a thing or two.
Yeah. Been there, done that. Has several t-shirts.
Yeah.
Okay. Bum, bum, bum. In Tristan's journal, does it mention his wife at all?
Yes, it does. It does
Okay.
mention.
I would just like to put a name to
However, it
elf
does not.
woman.
Well, I should say it doesn't mention his wife, but it does mention a. Just by the way that it's worded, you can tell that it was a person that he liked, a person of interest, a person that he was attracted to.
Okay.
However, he never wrote anything in his journal about being married. So, um,
Okay.
let me get her name for you. I believe it was Nelriel, but I could be wrong. Let me. Yes, Nelriel. Sorry, Nelriel.
Okay. Nell and then real?
Yep, Nellriel. Nelriel.
Okay, Riel. Question mark? Probably. Wrong. Okay.
Also, um, something of note as well that is a little odd as well. Tristan, and the dates that he writes in. Seems that it goes back a ways. Like, taking into consideration of like where your father's age is
Yeah.
and when he would have been like when he would have been born, because you guys are only in like I forget what I told you guys at the library. I want to say it's like maybe like
Oh, I didn't write it down. I don't know.
200 or something like that into the fifth age or something like
Oh,
that.
we're just baby fifth age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I see. I thought we were in there a little bit.
no.
Okay.
So your father would have been around late
Yeah.
fourth
Okay.
age.
Like, yeah, for like 100 years or so into it.
Which matches up with Tristan's mention of him. And Tiberius would have been. He was mentioned basically a little bit into the fifth age, like 50 years ish, and then wasn't mentioned anymore. But he goes back farther into, I guess it would be 3/4, it would be more accurate, 3/4 of the way through the fourth age is where you see like Tiberius being mentioned with Mamriel and Tristan mentioning about the hunts that they would go on and stuff like that.
Okay.
And however, going back to like thinking about like your father's age and when he would have been around and would have been growing up, Tristan's writings like date back earlier than that.
Yeah, so like he didn't like grow up with him, but he watched him grow up, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But at the same time, it seems like it's weird because it seems like Tristan was around before your father, like a decent amount before your
Yeah, like
father.
several hundred years.
Yes. I wouldn't. I don't know if I would go with several hundred, but maybe like 150 ish.
Okay.
And then your father came on the scene, but it seems like the two connected almost like individuals that were the same age would, if that makes
Right.
sense. Like they bonded like brothers, so to speak, that were going through the same stage of life almost.
Right, because he's an elf.
So
Ish. Elfish.
yeah, so he would have. Yeah, so yeah, they're So he would have been around, yes, a couple hundred years before your father came on the scene. Yeah, I keep forgetting the half elves or live a little bit longer.
Yeah. So he's a half elf. He was like 150 going on 200 ish.
Yeah.
And then, gotcha.
So, but yeah, is there anything else that you need some little bit of clarification on, possibly, besides the
Um,
Brutum's Bane?
well, do we know what bloodroot is? Because I know what
Yes,
redroot is.
that is a particular type of plant that has a white yellowish flower that comes up, but it is used not for the flower, but for the root. And the root looks like just a regular brown root, but it's thick. Basically, at the bottom of the stalk of the flower. If you can imagine, almost like a radish wouldn't be the proper thing, but it's thicker, um, and then it does branch out a little bit into like little roots that come out. But the big bulk part of the root is what people refer to as blood root, and the reason they refer to it as that is because when you cut it, the inside looks red, almost like you've cut open someone's flesh and you're looking at like muscle or something like that. It just looks red, and then any liquid that comes out that oozes out from the inside of the root and the plant is like a reddish liquid, which is why it's referred to as bloodroot.
Makes sense.
Whereas the red root is referred to as such because the root itself is red.
Right.
And it's kind of more from like a moss.
Okay. Got it. All right. Dun, dun, dun.
But things that you would expect to find in like the apothecary wing would be bloodroot. You could expect to find that. Let's see, rosemary. You could expect to find petals of nightshade or nightshade. You would expect to find silver shavings or dust. You would expect to find. The red root and the Brutum's Bane is a little more unique, along with the Ipomea is more unique as well.
Okay. 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 Is there any Brutum Bane already in the place?
Referring back to like looking at the index and whatnot, you do not see anything that mentions Brutum's Bane being in the archive or the vault.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So this is Probs. What's his name? It starts with an M. Ryo. Blah, 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 blah. This thing is Prob's grandpa. But younger. Okay. Breakfast, yep, breakfast, blah, 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 door, pillars, rooms. Mhm.
Word of note as well. Um, uh, During your eating breakfast, you hear a voice in your head, which sounds like Toravine, basically telling you that
Oh,
they went to the Slayers Guild, or they got invited to the Slayers Guild. They took a contract to prove themselves because they think that they have information on your condition, and they took a contract to prove themselves. They're going to Burkton, and when they to hunt some unknown creature, and they will be back whenever they finish the contract and touch base with you, and then hopefully share notes with what they find at the Slayers Guild.
okay. Where did they go again?
They went to Burkton.
Berkston?
Burkton. Berkton.
Got it.
Burkton.
Okay.
So, I'm assuming you probably have a response to that, but we can get into that next time if you want, or we can just
Okay.
bypass it depending on what you want to do. So,
Sweet. What's so of the things that are in the cure area, is there any of those items already in the apothecary bit?
yeah. I mentioned that before. What you basically would expect to find in the apothecary wing.
Oh, I meant like in the room.
In the apothecary wing?
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like at the store, but not like here.
No, in the
Okay,
apothecary
gotcha.
wing,
But
like in your
here,
own
okay,
personal
gotcha.
wing that you have.
Understood. Got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
No, the other stuff, I mean, you could find depending on the apothecary that you go to, or a store. You could possibly find, some of these other ingredients.
Right.
It all depends on, whether or not someone had it and sold it to them, or, there's a source nearby that they're able to get it, or.
Right. I kind of know where the red root is.
Yeah.
I've been there a couple times. But this Brutum Bane, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yep. And very much like the Ipomea for the Vela Morbus as well. That's kind of a
Oh,
odd one for
yeah.
you too.
Does that one like not grow on Praxis either?
That one does there are some points on Praxis that it does grow.
Is it like a jungle plant or?
No, it is found more around mountainous areas.
Mountainous areas.
And it's usually at great heights up in the mountains, which is why it's only found in mountainous areas.
Okay. It's an elevation plant. Gotcha. Yep. Gotcha. Okay. Well, we got our cure-ish. Can't really do that right now. So we're gonna talk about that next time. We're gonna try and have a powwow with the dragon next time. Um, is Tristan's like the last? My brain died. Journal.
Yes.
Okay. Um, what is the last entry in the journal?
The last entry, um,
Maybe the last two or three. I want to get what happened here.
the last entry speaks of him being hot on the trail of the same um, primordial that him and his father were after. Whenever his mother was murdered, being hot on the trail of that one, and seemingly dispatching it. But that is the last entry that is in the journal.
Okay. What is that dated? I know that's a really hard question. What would that be dated?
Let's see. About maybe 160 years ago ish.
Okay.
Around in that range.
Okay. Last entry. Okay. I don't know what happened, but I don't seem to have the notes on my previous vision from the sword. However, they spoke in the last one, words that I understood.
Yes.
And it was some dude saying you think this is gonna end. Is that right?
Yes, it was
Okay.
a bit of a battle,
Okay.
and a conclusion with the blade being held essentially out as if to someone's neck, and you heard a creature in a raspy voice, not like they're super old or anything, but just trying to think of how to describe it. I guess I can try to imitate it. It would be something along the lines of "You thought that that this is the end, that that you've finished it, that it's over," something to that effect. But it basically said, "You think that this is the end, this is all that there is, that you've finished it. What could you possibly understand? After all, you're just a mere mortal. And sure, you might take me down, but we have many in our number," or something to that effect. I don't remember the exact words that I used, but it was something to that effect of "You'll never kill us all," or something like that.
Okay.
And then you remember, and then the other part of it was the vision fading and coming back to the wielder walking through the streets, and it is raining, which was similar to the vision that you had last night. Him walking through streets, it raining, and him opening the door, and basically him falling to his knees. But
okay.
this
So it was
time,
like a different part of the vision.
yeah. So this was. It seemed like there was more to it and more that you saw. Seems like there was definitely a lot of similar bits to it. Just more was added to it, like either new information or the vision itself was more clear.
Okay.
Versus just being more of a tunnel vision thing on a certain thing. Now you have some more of the peripheral included.
Okay, so I have a question.
Sure.
You said that the primordial guy got away. And that at the very last entry, Tristan hunted him back down and killed him, he thinks.
The entry seems
Is
to
that right?
notate that he was dispatched, yes.
Okay. So the guy who was talking like you're not going to get us all, that wasn't the same guy.
It could be.
Maybe. Okay. Cool. Okay.
And in the entries that you look through the personal diaries, there are several mentions of other Belmonts that did hunt down or did have hunts where they were hunting entities referred to as primordial, either Vela or Brutum Morbus, which seemed to be some kind of special form of it, which you're not exactly sure what why that is or what it is referring to, but they are referred to in this way. So this wasn't like a one and done type thing where this is the only entry mentioning this sort of creature or entity.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I think that makes sense to me. Okay. I think I am now up to speed.
What's that?
So I think I am now up to speed-ish.
I mean, I wish I could explain what it means.
I know.
But at the same time, I kind of want it to be a surprise if you ever do find that deeper information on what that is referring to. But
yeah.
So
that'd be cool. Okay.
But
yeah. Sweet. Thanks, Colton.
Yeah. This was